What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. Wow, so very exciting day here as Alyssa and I are both back in home in Maryland, and it is the Survivor Season 37 finale episode that aired last night. So we're going to talk all about it. So my name is Rachel.
And I'm Alyssa, and Rachel says that it's fantastic to be back in Maryland. I don't know what she's talking about because it's been rainy and gross all the time here, so, wasn't that great. But you know what is great? Survivor. I already used this joke once on Rachel, but she's hearing it again. I love Survivor.
And now it is, I guess, officially hiatus season. We have crowned the sole survivor of season 37, David vs. Goliath, last night. And now we are waiting until mid-February for season 38, which we will start talking about in the upcoming week after this episode, honestly. Yeah,
and that's super exciting. I thought this finale was, pretty satisfying. Like, it wasn't one of those finales where you look back on it and you're like, oh my goodness, this was a mess. So I was very happy about that.
Yeah, like it was sort of predictable, but not as predictable as like Wendell Dom or something like that. So definitely Alyssa and I are both satisfied with the finale episode. Like someone we thought who was deserving of winning won. It wasn't a total blowout. We had a funky final tribal council, good questions, good jury, and it was just overall a good 3 hours to watch with everything happening. So I think overall, I'm happy with the Nick win. Like we said last episode, I would be happy with either Nick or Davey winning. Yeah, maybe Angelina.
Yeah, I feel like the worst part about the finale episode was that it ran into the reunion time, so then we did not get as much reunion time. So that was disappointing. But I feel like otherwise, like Rachel said, we had the people that we wanted to win, and one of them did win. So it was great.
Yeah, I think alternate universe, Angelina in the final tribal, Mike in the final tribal could win the game. But in this universe, it's Nick winning the game. And I thought it was really interesting because if you go back and look at the preview for season 37, so the preview that was played after last season Ghost Island during the reunion show, we have the 6 people that were featured on the preview in Nick, Gabby, Angelina, John, Natalie, and Christian. And if you notice that, Nick, Angelina both made final 3. Gabby, Christian are big characters, and John, all 3 of them made the jury. Natalie's the only one who didn't make the jury, post-merge, anything like that, but she was a really big character on the season. So I think looking forward, when they do have these previews, so like we saw last night, the season 38 preview, keep an eye out for those 2 people that they showed. Joe and Aubrey, they have to show, but the 2 people that they showed in that preview last night, I think definitely something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where they're not going to put one of the people who gets voted out first, because then it's like you wasted that time in the reunion show talking about them. So
yeah, so I think, interesting how 5 of the 6 people made it super far into the game. I think Natalie could be invited back for another season, similar to Angelina, I think, because both of them are very polarizing characters. Like Jeff mentioned in the reunion show, you either love them or you hate them. So I think they could definitely be invited back for a heroes versus villains in the villains category kind of thing, because that's what people have been calling them throughout the season. And I could definitely see them being invited back. Christian, I could see being invited back, and Davey. So Christian and Davey would be fan favorites versus Angelina and Natalie would be more polarizing people to bring back.
Yeah, and I feel like Pat also has a chance to come back just because the circumstances surrounding his leaving were so crappy. And I think he was the one that Jeff said, oh, the whole season was designed because of him. And so it's I feel like it would be really crappy for them to just leave Pat in the past because he had one horrible accident on a boat.
Yeah, it's sort of crappy for him. I feel like if they did another season where they bring back people who are medically evacuated, maybe he could be brought back, like Neil could be brought back, something like that. But then you always get into the case similar to season 38, like when you bring returning characters back on an all newbie season otherwise, even in Big Brother you see it, the returning players always somehow make it to the end or win that season with your 16 18 however many newbies you have. So it's like, I don't know, sort of unfair. I would rather see a all newbie cast rather than these things where you bring returnees back with like 14 newbies like we see next season.
Yeah, I think one of the things is Survivor is one of those games where like you think you know how to play it and then you do play it and everything is so different. And so it's like even having like a couple of days of experience on the island would give you like so much more preparation and such higher chances of winning.
Yeah, like you know what the starvation feels like, you know what the like no sleep feels like, you know how your body feels, how your mind feels versus new people, you have to play the game while also combating the elements. So I guess returning players, they already know what it's going to feel like so they can mentally brace themselves like I know it's going to be crap versus newbies will be like you know you think it's going to be crap, put on weight, whatever, but you don't 100% know.
Yeah. And I think one of the things about medically evacuated players is that like there are some players who are medically evacuated before you can really see whether or not they'd be good at the game. Like I think of Caleb, how he was medevac from um Brains Brawn Beauty, and it's like when he came back, he didn't like play that much better of a game than he did the first time.
Yeah, he was the same. He was like ninth or like 9 days both times. So, like, I don't know. I didn't really understand. I don't, yeah, with Caleb also, like, with that Big Brother season, I don't really get it. Why was he such a fan favorite to be brought onto Survivor from Big Brother when I feel like there's so many other people off of Big Brother that you could have and that would be great characters for the show?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd like to hope that people who got medically evacuated might play a little harder because they know how quickly like it can be torn from you. But I don't know. That's a different conversation for a different time, I guess.
Yeah, so we both enjoyed the finale. Davy being the first person out at the top of the hour. I think, it makes sense. At the time, I was like, holy crap, Nick's blindsided. Davy just went. Nick's chances of getting to the end are getting smaller and smaller, kind of thing. Smart move, obviously, for Mike to knock out Nick's right hand man or like a backup plan. So Nick is forced to work with you, kind of thing. So I really thought that was a good idea on Mike's behalf of choosing Davy to go rather than the easy vote, whatever, of Allison. So I think Davy was the right move technically for everyone but Nick, obviously, or people working with Davy. So maybe Kara too, since they were like close. But for Mike and Angelina, I think voting Nick's right-hand person out was really good. For a viewership point of view, I was like, oh no, if Davy's gone, now we need Nick to win, or else it's going to be a sort of crappy end to the season.
Yeah, Rachel and I were talking because we were texting all through the finale because we actually got to watch it in the same time zone. We were talking about how like a lot of the moves that were being made, like they're either good from a strategic perspective or good from like a television perspective, where it's like Davey was really good television. He was super fun to watch, and I was sad to see him go because like I feel like everything lacked a little bit of zing without him. But like from a strategic perspective, he was definitely like the best one to go. So.
Yeah, especially after Nick wins immunity, then you're sort of limited on the people to go. So, like, yeah, definitely Davey was a smart move. Mike and them realized like he has winner potential. He's likable, charismatic, has good moves. So we need to get him out. Similar to the next vote with Allison, I feel like Allison was the good TV vote because she was sort of boring. But for strategic, I think Mike should have been the one to go in the 5th place spot because like Nick said when he chose them to do fire, like Mike and Kara were the 2 people over Angelina to have the winner potential. So I think, but we don't really know what's going on the island. Maybe Allison really did have such a good social game that she could have won. But I think Mike would have been a good move to vote out at Final 5.
Yeah, I think one of the things is like hindsight is 2020, but I feel like Mike is like he played a good game, but he did not play the best game. So I feel like if you had to choose between voting out Davey and voting out Mike, I feel like you have a better chance of winning against Mike than you do winning against Davey. So like Mike would have been a good person to go in that spot, but I feel like Davey was still the superior one, I guess, to choose.
No, at Final 5 with Allison.
Oh, wow. My brain. Whew. Yeah, then I totally agree with you. Who lets me like do this? My brain is fried. But yeah, I feel like Allison is just like so vanilla. And I don't understand why she kept referring to herself as a threat this whole time, because I feel like if she got to the final tribal council, everyone would be like, what exactly did you do? So
yeah, I think it's interesting because maybe we aren't seeing it on the TV screen. Who knows? But like Alyssa and I were texting and we were like, Superwoman where kind of thing, Wonder Woman where, because in challenges too, it seems like Kara does the same goodness or even better performance wise than Allison, but Kara isn't called like Superwoman, Wonder Woman kind of thing, whereas Allison is getting all of this I'm a threat, competition beast, but like Allison only won 1 immunity and everyone pretty much has won 1 immunity besides Angelina. So it's sort of like, where is this big threat level coming from? Because Kara seems to do better than you in challenges. So it really didn't make much sense. So maybe we weren't seeing it on our television and like she was really good at other things kind of thing, which made her a threat. Or maybe it's like what Alyssa and I were saying last week, how once you're on the chopping block, then you're just an easy name to continually throw out there because your name's already been brought up. No one's going to hate you for bringing up that person's name because it's already been brought up so many times. So it's like the easy vote. Everyone wanted to get Allison out for like 4 weeks in a row. So
yeah, I think it is one of those things where like you don't want to like rock the boat by bringing up a new person's name, because like we see how upset like people get if like their name is brought up or their ally's name is brought up. So maybe it really was just a matter of Allison was the easiest one to like keep on doing.
yeah, because even in that vote, when Allison was trying to flip the tables on Mike, and I was like, that's a really great idea. Mike has some capital in the game where he could get votes, especially after when Davey left, he was like, I'm giving my vote to whoever orchestrated this move kind of thing. And then Mike got really pissy about Allison bringing up his name kind of thing. So it's like, if their name is already being brought up, it's okay to bring up their name. But Mike got really angry when Allison brought up his name. They were close, but it's sort of like, for Allison, if you're not bringing up Mike's name, are you bringing up Kara's name? There's only 2 people left that you can bring up names for. I feel like you can't really be super butthurt about someone bringing up your name in Final 5 when there's not that many people that you can have your name brought up for, especially if Angelina has the idol. So like the numbers are dwindled. You shouldn't be super butthurt. I mean, being hurt in the moment, sure. Hating them forever, maybe not.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things too where like Angelina at the reunion show said like she looked back on herself and she was like, oh my God, stop. So I feel like it's one of those things where in the moment you can be very like pissy about something, but then you look back at yourself and you just cringe.
Yeah, I think so. Allison gets booted, then it's fire making. I think putting Kara and Mike up for fire making was a smart thing to do. It was interesting because Mike had the whole like, I don't know how to make fire, haha, and then he was the one to win it. So I'm like, that is a nice turn of events, I guess, for Mike. And Mike was talking a lot in Final Tribal Council. I was like, you need to stop talking. Let Nick talk more so he can win the favor of the jury.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things where, like, whenever someone mentions specifically that they are super bad at fire, I feel like that's when they always end up winning the fire challenge for some reason. Like, I feel like it's never the person you expect to win the fire challenge that actually does win the fire challenge. So,
yeah, except for Ben, because then he won everything for some reason and then won the season. But yeah, I think Mike making it to Final 3 was the dream Final 3 going into the fire making challenge for Alyssa and I, because I think that would have been the most like fiery, fun Final Tribal Council with Angelina, Mike, and Nick, because both of them, all three of them know how to talk. All three of them have good arguments, and they all can talk well. So I think that was the best Final 3. And having Kara booted also. And I think because of like the whole contract thing, we saw Alec didn't get any screen time during Final Tribal Council, also wasn't at the reunion, but it was like, dang, he probably asked questions, but then they just cut them all out.
yeah, I think it was interesting because I feel like Kara's edit also reflects the whole like lack of
Yeah.
screen time thing, because it's like she got very far in the game, and I feel like the main point of her edit was just her like thing with Dan and never anything about like her herself, which I thought was interesting because Nick was like, I don't think I can win against Kara or Mike, and I was like, from what the viewers have seen, thinking that he could not beat Kara or that Kara was more of a threat to win than Angelina was just like preposterous. So
yeah, I think definitely the contract thing probably had to do with the edit, because it's like, what did we see from Kara? We never really saw her in the driver's seat of votes. She was more like, got a lot of information from other people, so we could see she has a social game. A lot of people seem to like her. She's really bubbly and friendly, but like, we didn't really see much more than that. So it seems like maybe things were being edited out from Kara and Alex's storyline. So that's sort of crappy. But yeah.
and you also said that Jeremy was not on the reunion show, correct?
Yeah. Did you notice that after I texted you that?
I did not even notice. Like, I feel like it's one of those things where, like, the first couple people that are voted out, you don't really, like, pay attention to them because it's like there's so many, you don't normally learn that much about them. And then there's so many other, like, people that take up your brain space. So.
Yeah, Crazy Yay also mentioned it in the chat that Jeremy wasn't at the reunion. And when they were panning all of the like pre-merge boots, I'm like, oh, it's very female heavy. I don't think it was that like female dominated pre-merge boots, because that would be crappy. And then I was like, just Pat and a bunch of girls. I was like, this is weird. And then I was reading an article later that was talking about that Jeremy wasn't there. And then he like untagged himself off of Dan's like photos on Instagram of the entire cast. So I was like, ooh, there's some tea surrounding this. So if anyone knows what the tea is, like let us know in the chat or the comments after this podcast ends, because like I would definitely love to know. Was Jeremy just like a big baby and doesn't want to go to the reunion, doesn't want to be affiliated? Did something happen? Maybe he hates the show now. Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like there has to be more than just like he doesn't want to be affiliated with it though. Because it's like, I feel like there always has to be something. So I'm interested to know that tea if you guys want to spill it. Yeah, but I think it was really interesting to like see everyone at the reunion show, because I feel like even with 2 people missing, it still looked like a very full thing. And you never really notice when there are people missing because they normally only talk to like 3 people anyway. So
Yeah, I feel like this reunion show, even though it was literally only 30 minutes because the freaking Survivor finale ended at 10:30 and then you have 5 minutes for like the preview and whatever else is happening. I feel like they did get to more people in this short amount of time. Like they talked to the final three, they talked to Christian and Gabby, big characters. They talked to Angelina and Natalie and Carl and Dan and John and stuff. I'm like, this is a lot of people and the stage looks full. So unless you're like eyeing it a lot or you're not a super fan, you probably wouldn't notice that Jeremy and Alec weren't sitting up in the stands.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, we obviously have this podcast. We did a lot of stuff about like everyone on the cast. So like I knew everyone's name at one point and I still didn't even notice. So yeah, I was surprised by how much they were able to talk to people. And I think that part of that was they didn't have the excessively long commercial breaks.
Really? I feel like the commercial breaks were so long. Like, I was sitting there and then it would cut to commercial, then it would cut back to the reunion show saying, like, Survivor will be right back. And then I'm like, you all just BM'd us so hard because it's already been like 4 minutes. And then you cut back to the scene just to say, we'll be right back. And then they cut to more commercials. And I was like, holy crap, there's too many commercials.
Yeah, but I feel like it was still, maybe it was just the fact that there was a shorter reunion show. I didn't feel like there was many commercial breaks, even if the commercial breaks were still like long. I don't know though. I was really happy that they talked to Gabby at the reunion show because she kind of doubled down on what she already said. And Jeff talking to Angelina at the reunion show about like the game that she played and the thing that Gabby said at Final Tribal Council about like how like if a man had played Angelina's game, he probably would have been getting a lot of praise. I thought that was really interesting and really cool of Jeff to acknowledge.
No, yeah, I definitely agree, especially with the idol thing, too. I like how it came full circle because first episode, Angelina mentioned the statistic about men versus women finding idols on Survivor. Then the finale episode, she finds an idol and then mentions the statistic again. So I thought that was really cool how it came full circle and that Jeff does acknowledge it. I think like Angelina's character, it really reminds me of Chrissy from, I guess, HHH because Chrissy came off like a lot of people disliked her and she was like coming off as bossy or whatever. People called her bitchy just because she acted a certain way or whatever. So I feel like Angelina and Chrissy are similar in that regard, where like if a man acted in that same way, they may have not had those words called against them.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too because they brought up when Angelina was finding her idol in the episode, they brought up how she how like it's less likely for women to find hidden immunity idols. So like just all of the stats that were coming up, because I mean, we've obviously like had a video about this. So Rachel and I are like super into the whole like gender bias and Survivor thing. So like seeing people like on Survivor actually talk about it was like galaxy brain.
Yeah, I think, Angelina could be invited back again to play. I think she sort of realizes her maybe social aspects that she might need to bring in or be more aware of. So I think that would be very interesting to see her play again and like realize these things about herself because definitely there's a lot of like drama around her and like the jacket, the rice, and always bringing up the rice, even though it was like a selfless act. So I did enjoy how like Davey called her out during Final Tribal too. So I think if she did play again, she hopefully would be more self-aware.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things too where like part of it I feel like is the edit. Like obviously they can't make her say things that she hasn't already said, but I feel like we've kind of been blinded to like if she has more positive qualities because of the way she's been edited. So
yeah, and I guess it's also interesting with the whole Natalie edit too, when Jeff asks the cast, like, was Natalie misportrayed during the show? I was like, no one in their right mind would raise their hand because if you raise your hand, you're probably not going to be invited back to the show because you just can't go against the organization like that. So I'm like, in a way, they're shedding light and transparency and stuff like that, but then also in a way with like the contracts and banning people from the reunion show. The person commented in the chat that apparently Jeremy had to go back to his job, so he left the Ponderosa early, which I guess makes sense. It's similar to Vetus when he left Ponderosa to go back to his family, and then he wasn't allowed to the reunion. But even though they preach all this transparency, it's definitely like the bureaucracy still.
Yeah. But, like, I think it was interesting because Angelina kind of raised her hand at the reunion show. Like, she was like, I guess I was kind of misportrayed. But again, like you said, it's kind of like asking not to be asked back. Because if you're gonna, like, whine about the way they showed you, like, when you go on Survivor, you kind of have to be prepared to be edited in basically any way. Because you can't, like, guarantee that you're gonna get a certain kind of edit. So...
Yeah, and you can't have 20 heroes on a season, that's not interesting. The Bachelor, Bachelorette, I feel like those people that always cause the drama are definitely fake actors and are paid to be there, but like they always have to have someone that causes the drama. So even if maybe you aren't like that in your everyday life and you're a sweet, nice person, they need someone to cause the drama and stir the pot, because that's what like gets people viewing, similar to TV shows. Killing off a main character gets more views than having the same old happen all the time. So in the end, it is a TV show, it is drama, and you need to edit it in a way to get people to watch.
Yeah, and I feel like it's one of those things where, like, there are going to be people who naturally emerge as, like, the villain characters, and Angelina totally embraced that role, and I feel like Chrissy kind of did as well when she was on the island, so...
Villains have more fun. I think villains have more fun. I think villains can definitely be remembered more. Like, who's a hero that you remember? I think villains just more memorable.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times when we remember heroes, like, thinking about the heroes versus villains season, a lot of the heroes were just stupid. Like, they made stupid decisions. Like, James was on the heroes and heroes versus villains, and he was stupid. And JT was on the heroes and heroes versus villains, and she was stupid. So,
yeah.
I don't know what to say. Heroes are stupid, villains have fun.
Exactly. I am very excited, honestly, for season 39 and 40. Hopefully, we can get some like Legends, Winter Season, Heroes versus Villains 2. I would literally die to watch those and to have a star-studded cast, especially with these more recent seasons. We definitely have a lot of people, I think, who would be great for a returning season. Maybe enough winners soon. We can have a winner's season for once, but like, yeah, I don't know. I think season 38 with their weird Exile Island thing, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We're going to talk about the theme for season 38 in our next podcast. But if any of you also have any other requests for this hiatus, please let us know in the comments.
Yeah, because we like talking about literally anything we can talk about, so...
Yeah, so thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for the people in the chat talking with us. We really enjoyed doing this, and this is the end of, I think, our sixth
season talking about Survivor, which is crazy. We're probably going to do like an updated origin story sometime, because we had a video about the origin story of our channel, and it just was like not a good video. So yeah.
Yeah, because there's literally just the camera was on me the whole time, so it was really awkward.
But yeah, we are so happy to have gotten to do this all with you guys, and we look forward to doing 6 more seasons, or maybe even more. So yeah.
Yeah, so we will see you all shortly. Thanks for watching. Have a good Christmas and holiday break.
Bye.